you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Oh, I guess you're in the stream, so I guess we'll happy Wednesday morning, everybody. I am Josh, co-host of Service Business Mastery. Tersh is not with us today. He is out in New Jersey and getting ready, his business ready for 2022. So I am left to kind of hold down the fort here, and I've already screwed up how to do the whole intro and stuff on our system here. But that being said, I've been out for a few weeks. So if I hack up a lung while anyone's watching this, I apologize. I'm still getting over my illness. But today we have an exciting guest. We have Sonaya. Sonaya, I still said that right.
You did.
Yes, she is the founder of the CEO Partner, which is a digital implementation agency. And she started this back probably way before digital was even cool, where a lot of people were like, digital, I'm not doing any of that stuff. So but that was back in 2011, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I will let her tell more about her story, but welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So, and you are coming to us from across the pond. So it is afternoon over by you, right?
Yes, it is. It's 2:00.
Okay. Awesome. So you're way more awake than I am right now.
Yes, I've had coffee, lunch. I'm good to go.
So, Sonaya, tell us your story. Kind of take us, actually, maybe even take us before. What made you decide that there was a gap somewhere where, you know, a digital implementation specialist could kind of come in and start a business, and this was actually a need in the marketplace?
Yeah. So I guess my background is in IT and brokerage finance. So I used to create a lot of different software systems at banks like TD Ameritrade and E-Trade, and then train customer service on how to deliver a good client experience. And then I, like to think ahead. So I was thinking about when I eventually have kids, what am I going to do? I can't, I won't be able to be home with them. I was raised by a single mom. So I wanted to be able to be home with my kids, and working this non-existing 8-hour day, and then commuting from New Jersey to New York, 2 hours each way, then coming home and working. And then I'd be traveling.
That's a nasty commute.
It was terrible. And I travel like 3 weeks out of the month. So it's like I couldn't have kids and maintain that job.
Okay.
So I had to figure out something to do. And I then just started networking and trying to figure out what problems I can solve for people. And so back then, I used to work in business process management, where I was doing a lot of process documentation and standard operating procedures and creating systems from that. So I started helping small business owners take everything that's in their head and get it onto paper so that they would deliver the same experience and have like materials to train their team members when they join.
And you had to do networking when it wasn't easy. We didn't have LinkedIn might have been I don't think LinkedIn was a thing in 20.
It wasn't as big as it now.
If it was very tiny and nobody knew about it.
Exactly. I mean, I don't even remember using Facebook as much. I literally was going to 2 to 3 networking events in person a week or more than that. But yeah.
It's hard to fathom life before all these networks, doesn't it? Like you think about back, excuse me, we're talking 10 years, almost 10 years exactly now, in November of 2011, and trying to think like what was life like 10 years ago? I mean, that was like the beginning of the iPhone, and like what was life like before we had all these gadgets and these very easy ways to, like, I can talk with anyone in the world, like literally almost anyone in the world. They may not answer me, but I can send a message to anyone in the world that I've seen on TV. Like it's just crazy how connected the world is today. I'm sure networking and finding people is a lot easier for you these days than it was 10 years ago.
It is. It's much easier. I mean, but that's what helped me build the business, because I built it a lot on referrals. Still to
Okay.
this day, probably 60% of our business is all referrals. But it's the
Can I
relationship.
so can I ask you about that? So that's a big focus of mine, even though I do digital marketing, is I tell people like you have to take care of your existing customers because you want that word of mouth referral. That is, I
Yeah.
think until the end of time will always be the best source of new business for you. So
Yeah.
how do you do anything to elicit that, or is it more like they're so happy they just kind of tell people? How does that work in your business?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. I think for the first 8 years of business, it was more of a passive. When people referred to me, we got referrals. I would do also often webinars and have my partners promote it. But more recently, in the last 2 years, what I've started doing is actively asking for referrals. So when our project's complete, if you know anyone that enjoyed this, that would like what you're doing, we'd love to work with them. Here's who we work with. We have a campaign that goes out to our partners and our clients quarterly. We're open for 2, 3 clients, whatever our capacity is. And then last year, we started putting out a magazine. So we put out a print magazine that we send to our clients every quarter and our partners every quarter. And it basically has case studies in there. We write a bunch of different featured articles. And that really helps us generate more. It like wakes people up and has them remember us for
Okay.
helping with their implementation.
I love that because I made a post last night. Somebody in a marketing group for a CRM asked me to leave some thoughts on some marketing stuff, and I'm actually considering. We had a guest on about 3 weeks ago that helps. It's they have like a spoken author thing, like where we tell them our story, they create the book,
Oh,
and part of my post last night was about becoming that voice in your market. Like what we're doing right now can be done on a much smaller scale. Like obviously everyone has their audience. Like you can have a podcast in your local community and be that voice, especially with the local business, the way things are right now, helping local businesses promote themselves. You can almost kind of be the hero of your small town market. And those people, usually business owners, are like perfect ideal clients because they're busy, they don't have time, they're like, yeah, just do it for me, like
I just want to get it done.
take care of it, I don't want to worry about it. And so it's interesting that you mentioned having the magazine, putting yourself out there. So do you find that puts you in a position where you guys are like more of an authority in what you guys do by having that magazine and some of those articles and people writing there?
Yeah, I do. I think it helps us, one, get in front of the right people because we curate this list of clients, partners, but also people we would like to work with. And we send them the magazine. And then like I created it's like a notebook, but it's got branded cover pages as well. And so we send my leads that package so they get, something from us after like our sales call and things like that. And I think it does put us in a position of, hey, we know what we're talking about. One, we produce this magazine and it's got real facts and real stories in it. So
I love that. What's been the feedback? Because obviously you're a digital implementation agency. I'm a digital marketing agency. So we're talking like things that you can't feel and touch.
Yeah.
And then you decided to create something that is something you can touch. You can actually put on your coffee table or in the bathroom or whatever. So what made you think that you needed to have something that was more tangible?
Yeah, well, one, we started really focusing on reaching these businesses that are offline. So they're not surfing Instagram or Facebook. They're barely looking at posts on Instagram. And we wanted to get in front of them. And the best way to get in front of them is to do what most people aren't doing, is using snail mail and actually putting something in the mailbox. And when they get it, we get like messages like, this is great. I love surprises in the mail. And I mean, it's a small magazine, not even 20 pages. And it's received really well. So
No, that's awesome because I find, again, like we talked about this a little bit before the show, like there's so many ways to market your business, and it doesn't all have to be the same way everyone's doing it. You don't have to do, and just digital isn't. There's more to it, right? There's so many other ways. Like if everyone's going digital, you probably should do a little bit of that, but maybe go this direction. You should zag when people are zigging.
Yeah, exactly. And because, like you said, the work that we're doing is not something like you can pick up a product and say, oh, yeah, that's really good quality. You have to show your work in this space in order for people to really see it. I mean, I find like I can't just go and exhibit at a conference because people aren't going to walk by and see, oh, yeah, I want to work with her because they haven't really got to experience my work. It's best, like this type of work is best like shown and like partially like by a demo or by a talk on stage or something like that.
Sure. No, that's awesome. And any of the service businesses, contractors, managers that are listening to this, if a newsletter seems very daunting to you, which it definitely can seem very daunting to try to like, oh my God, I'm going to put a recipe in here like once a quarter. Like, what am I going to do? Reach out to Tersh and I. We have some contacts that can kind of help you with that in our space. But that being said, so now we're talking about marketing, but so what is it that the CEO partner does and is really good at? Like what is your guys' focus?
Yeah, so we're really good at helping. So with CEO partner, because we like to partner with the owners, and we're really good at helping solve problems. So one of the biggest problems a lot of our clients have is everything's held in their head, and their team or whoever works with them has to come to them to like figure out how to get all that out of your head, whether it's process, whether it's creating a new product or a new service or something. We're really great at helping you get those things out of your head and implementing it in the real world. So, for example, just documenting a process. Take the easy one, client onboarding. Like, what does that experience really look like? And what are the steps to it? And obviously you, the CEO, might not be doing that. How do we put everything in place so a member on your team can execute it and give a good experience? Those are the things that we're really good at, documenting that and putting it into place.
So what does that look like? You have someone that comes in, they obviously probably have an idea that like, hey, our stuff's outdated. It needs to be better. What does that look like when they come to you and they say, hey, help me make processes? Like I need everything here. Put a zip drive in my head and download all of this stuff. What does that process look like when they actually like are doing the work?
Yeah. So they're more coming to us when they get to a point where they realize they're losing money or their team is ineffective or something's inefficient. And there's this pain point and they're like, I know we can do this better. I'm tired of like either losing clients or missing out on deals. And so when they come to us and we, go through our discovery and figure out what the biggest pain point is, we are interviewing them basically. So I'll stick with client onboarding. And we will go through like, what's the first step with a client? So they will sign a contract with you. And in my world, I think it's best to write out your full process from beginning to end so that you can see exactly what's involved before you then go look for like the new shiny technology to make it work. Because if you have a broken process and you add tech on top of it, it's just going to highlight everything that's broken in that process and the experience.
It's just a broken process with tech. Now you're losing even more money.
Exactly. Because now you're paying for a tool and you're losing more. So we help you take that process, document it, streamline it, and figure out the ways we can optimize it and make it better. And then we look for technology tools and figure out how we can implement tech to fit it into the business as a whole and make it work. And also into the business of where you want to go, not where you are now, because you want your business to grow. So we don't want to create a process that's just going to last you a year. We want a process that you're going to grow into.
Okay. Yeah. And I see that, there's the tools, the Trainual, and I think there's some other ones that are, I'm sure Facebook's probably going to send us some ads now, but yeah, I'm going to get some ads for these tools now, but I know these get tossed around in groups and that's always my thought too is, okay, well now we take, whatever process we had, even if it was broken and we just throw it into a tool, it's still broken. We haven't fixed anything. And now we added another layer of complexity onto something that is still broken. At the end of the day. Like, so it's one of those things that technology, it always, because technology companies sell themselves as the easy fix, right? It's, they're gonna fix your world. Like your business is, you're not even gonna have to work. Like your business is fixed. There's no problems anymore. Just sign up and pay us $99 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So do you guys, is it a kind of a wide range of things? Because I know hiring and training is with the job market the way it is, and contractors specifically, because right now we have a gap. Like there's a lot of the baby boomer generation is retiring, and those are guys that have been in the trade, guys and gals have been in trade 30, 35, 40 years. So we have this gap where these people are retiring and now recruiting new talent, a totally different generation, a totally different mindset with things, and a totally different they come into the workforce looking for totally different things. Baby boomers just want to work. Like they just great workers. Like they really are. I've employed someone, I was on the contractor side, and they stay out of your way and they just do their work.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as hiring and training, how does that look as far as, because there's so many steps in that process. It's not like you have to figure out what you're offering, then figure out where you're going to place the ad, then figure out how to sort through maybe, if the job is a little lower entry, 100 candidates. Like, how do you guys help kind of facilitate the hiring and training aspect of your implementation?
Yeah, so I can tell you what we do internally, but basically, you have the ad. We'll post it. I find LinkedIn for our work. LinkedIn jobs works well for us, and instead of basically after we post the ad, we then have people fill out a questionnaire, because that's like our first gate of qualifying people, so that we're not actually looking at
what does that look like? I mean, is it like a long page, or do you get to like some core questions, and then after based on like 5 to 7, 8 core questions, you can kind of like filter a couple, at least maybe 50% of the people out, because you're like, this isn't is that kind of how you're
it's exactly that. Yeah, so the questions are specific to the role. And then, so for example, if we're hiring a marketing or social media person, we would ask for some examples from their, past accounts that they might have managed, or we might ask them to craft a social post and create a graphic for us, so that we can see their skills of what they're actually doing. So there are probably, I would say, 10 questions or more than 10 questions on the questionnaire to actually vet their skills and see how they are. And then what will happen is somebody that they're working closely with on the team, so say the project manager, will do the first interview to qualify and see if they're a really good fit for the team, see their skills, and then another person will interview them. So we always have 2 people doing an interview to find out if they're like a good fit for the job, but also working with the rest of the team as well. And then for us, when we have someone come on board, they come on a 90-day trial. They get like a project that they work on in a contained space to see how the results, and see how that works before they join the full team, I guess.
Do you have that process automated? So like if somebody sends in, is it like where they send in a resume, or LinkedIn connects you, and the next step like kind of automatically sends that questionnaire? Is that how you have it set up?
Yeah, the questionnaires are on our website, and when they go, that's the first thing for them. So in the job ad, it says go here to fill out this questionnaire. And once they do that, then they get a automated reply that says, oh, we've received your questionnaire. You'll get a response from us in like 3 to 5 business days. And then from there, they'll follow on the process of the interviews, or they'll get you're not the right fit for the role type of email.
Okay. I love the automation part of that. Like that's a big, probably anyone that's in the digital space, like automation is like part of what your daily talking points. We don't necessarily talk about what we're doing for the, we're talking about what we can automate.
What we can automate, yes.
So, and that's something I try to bring to the contractors of the world and stuff like that. And I start talking about Zapier, and everyone's eyes start crossing. And they're like, I don't even know what that's a new word for me. Like, I don't know what that means. But this is an important topic, and I just kind of want to bring it home with the hiring and training and stuff. Is almost all these LinkedIn, Indeed, all of these things. I'm sure there's a bunch of ZipRecruiter. I'm sure they all have a place where you can, whether you send them somewhere on their platform and have, I know Indeed for sure has like you can set up your own questionnaire inside of Indeed.
You can have questions on there. Yeah. Same thing on LinkedIn as well. You can create questions there as well.
Okay. And so if those two are kind of the leaders in the market with that stuff. So I'm guessing everyone else kind of follows suit. Excuse me. But automate some of this stuff. if those that are listening, don't assign someone in your office to take care of the stuff. Like get those people to a certain point, especially like if you're hiring office help or like a CSR, when you're gonna get a lot of resumes. I've posted for those jobs, and it is literally like inbox is flooded in 10 minutes, and you're like, oh my god, how am I gonna narrow this list down? That being said, if you guys are looking for a job, like if you're just an employee and you're looking for jobs, stuff like that, you may want to make sure that you refresh your knowledge base, because this is the way the job market's going. There get so many applicants for so few positions. It seems like I posted a job for a paid ad specialist, and I got like 35 resumes, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I wish I did not have your system set up. And I'm reading through every single one of them. And this is so painful. I'm like, why did I not do something else to facilitate? Now, we did with another position. It worked out so much better. We had like a 5-6 questionnaire thing on like Google Forms or something. Yeah. And that went to a spreadsheet, and we were like, super easy. We could just read across the line, read the answers, be like, okay, yes, let's second interview. No, second interview. And it made the process so painless, where we could get to like the 5 best candidates without having to spend hours trying to phone interviews and emails back and forth. And you know how that goes. So
the easiest way possible.
I think that's really interesting with, I don't know if you do that for people that you work with, or is that maybe just something you kind of help them on the side, like, hey, this is what we do, and this is maybe what you should do too, type of thing? I don't know.
We don't do the hiring per se, but we've set up the hiring process for people. But we don't do
so you'll help them set up that process and kind of facilitate. Obviously, they have to probably come up with the questions, like what do they want to know, sort of thing. But you facilitate the process, so they can set it up and not have to worry about it as much.
Exactly. So that it's there, and don't have to worry about implementing it.
Okay. So I want to touch on referrals and stuff like that again. When you guys have a client, so what do you have like a typical time frame a client works with you, or is it just kind of based on ongoing, maybe because they need more help, sort of thing?
Yeah, so our clients usually start working with us at 90 days is like our first time frame for a project, and then from there, some of them would renew on an annual basis, depending on the work that we're doing.
Okay, so are there things along the way in that process that you guys? I mean, you guys have the magazine. Are there things that you guys try to focus on, like throughout that process, to kind of create that exceptional customer service? Just that exceptional vibe about your company and how people work with you and stuff like that. Is there things that you focus on or specifically do to just make sure that they're like that little extra icing on the cake type of thing?
So I think depending on the project, we always try to obviously meet our goals and deliver what we've promised. But then we also try and see like other things that we could do that somebody on the team, like say maybe they need we've noticed that you're sending out a newsletter and it can look so much better, right? So we'll have a designer design something and say, here, this might look better for you. So we try to find like different things and stuff that they're doing already that we can improve on process-wise. Either way, it's out of scope, right? It's not something that's already in scope that we're working on, but it's like in addition to the scope we're working on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that's, I'm digital marketing company, but I feel like I talk to people more about offline marketing strategies and operations and pricing and all the things that we don't actually make any money doing.
Exactly.
And it's, you have that experience. Obviously, you've been doing this a really long time. So you've probably, can't say you've seen it all, but you've probably seen most things, and you kind of know where you can steer somebody. And the reason I asked that question about things that you do along the way is those are the things that people remember. they obviously remember the stuff, but they paid you for that. Like they expected that, but it's the unexpected things along the way. And when it comes to contractors, what anyone that's listening to this, your customer, and so often we focus on the next golden ticket, the new customer with the new HVAC system or the new plumbing system that we haven't seen, and we forget about our existing customers, which I'm a huge proponent of staying in front of, similar to yourself with your magazine and remarketing and retargeting them, because those people love you. They already love you, they trust you. They're gonna be your best advocates online, in person, to their business associates, and it doesn't get talked about enough. Everyone's like, "Well, I gotta go get a new customer," but new customer acquisition that doesn't know you is super expensive, like ridiculously expensive.
Cheaper to keep them than to go out and get a new one.
Exactly, and it's cheaper to have them either stay on longer, find a new project that maybe they need help with, start offering another service. Like, find what do your customers need that you can offer. Maybe you don't need an extra license or something. So that's why I asked about your customer experience, because that brings about more referrals and it builds those relationships.
Yeah, so we had a client who was struggling. Like, she was literally trying to get to another level in her business, and so she was launching a new product. But from my conversation with her, have you ever heard of the term upper limiting from the Big Leap book? So what happens is, basically, when you reach a max of your capacity, it's called upper limiting of your capacity. What you can do. And so there's this book where I think it's Gay Hendricks. She talks about it. And so basically I sent the client that book. And I was like, you need to read this book. This will help you get through what you're dealing with right now. So that's kind of like a different touch. And then also for our clients' birthdays, we would send them flowers or something in the mail as well. We'll send them something. So those are different touch points that help our clients know that, we're with them, we care about them. And
you're not just collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So real quickly, last thing, you have a show yourself. Do you want to talk about that just for a few minutes? Because it kind of leads into what we just talked about, like new revenue streams and new services that maybe you can offer. So do you want to talk a little bit, maybe a couple minutes, just what your show's about and what it focuses on?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a podcast called The New Revenue Show. And basically on there, we interview different clients or people that have gone from offline to online, basically created this new revenue stream. So most of them have taken the service or the skill that they have in their, day-to-day business and created something new, whether it be a course or a product or something that they're selling online. So it's a new revenue stream in addition to what they currently make, in their day-to-day. And so we interview them and we talk about different ways that you can be creating new revenue online, different processes, different tools, different tips, and things like that. So you can create new revenue online. Because in my head, I feel like everyone has a space to be doing something online in today's day and age. And you can be creating so many different revenue streams to reach your goals.
Yeah. And this is I feel like and honestly, it's probably because private equity has realized during the pandemic that home services is like one of the most important business models around, because it's not going anywhere. No matter what happens in the world, people need someone to fix the stuff in their house. And so we've seen an influx the last 2 years, even probably a little bit before that, but private equity has been coming in big time, buying up businesses and investing and stuff like that. And shopping online has also coincided with the pandemic, and people don't necessarily want someone in their house, but they still want to buy a new HVAC system when they want to, or a new water heater. And there's opportunities now for contractors to kind of a plug and play system with a vendor and stuff to get their online store up. And that's why when you talk about new revenue streams, I'm a big fan of contractors really focusing on this stuff, because filter programs. A lot of contractors have filters in their trucks. They'll bring them by and sell them as needed, but then they have tools that bang around, they break, they smush the filters, they got to worry about inventory and all this stuff. And then, oh, I'm out, I can't get you one today. And they have to go drop it off the next time. And the stuff with Amazon and drop shipping and all of these things, like, you can work so much easier, and money will just come in. Like it's, I hate to say it's a money truck or like a Brinks truck, back it up, but there's a way, if you market it and you think about just creatively, like, how can I leverage what Amazon has done and the shopping experience, how easy it is, and turn it into what the service business world does. And so anyone that is listening that wants to hear from other people that have done things like this, and just sometimes it's best to just be in a room or listen to ideas, just get those little light bulb moments. You can take what somebody else did and like, oh, I can maybe turn this in, this is an idea for me now. I would definitely check out the podcast. I'll be checking it out just because I'm always interested in new ways to make some money and continue to live the life that I want to live. So, is there any questions or anything like that we did not ask or go over that you want to touch base on real quick?
No, I mean, I think from everyone service-based wise, there's always a leveraged way for you to continue to grow your business. So whether it's documenting your processes so you're not executing them all and you can have team members doing them, or creating this new revenue stream online so that you can create additional revenue without having to be out there every single day.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is, it's funny, you've been doing it 10 years and it's probably more prevalent now than it ever has been to do these things. I'm sure you maybe even realize that with people that are reaching out to you. If anyone would like to reach out to Sonaya, her site is on the bottom of the screen. We'll put it in the show notes. It's theceopartner.com, real simple to remember, and reach out to her. I know a lot of you that I interact with on a regular basis talk about processes and getting this stuff out. So if this is a big focus for you in 2022 as you're making your plan, be a great person to reach out to and try a project out. Try to take your some of your processes, maybe your hiring process or things like that. Take it, try to make it where it's much more efficient. Stop stressing about your business so you end up, not even 40 years old and all this gray hair like I have trying to figure this stuff out. So, but Sonaya, this was great. You had a lot of talking points that are very viable to the service industry right now. So hopefully our listeners get a lot of valuable information about this, and hopefully you guys either reach out, listen to her show, maybe get a taste of more, get to know Sonaya a little bit more before you buy, kind of like a test drive.
Yeah.
So, but I really appreciate having you on the show. This was great. A lot of really great information, and I think it will be very valuable for our listeners.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.